Ever find yourself watching trashy reality TV and wishing you could remember what Lisa Barlow, Ramona Singer, or Tom Sandoval did to piss you off? In this video, we'll add a history log to Reality Ranker, my Notion system for re-yanking reality stars. My Notion system for ranking reality TV stars. This update will automatically track every change you make so you never lose the receipts. I'm Anthony Wagner, an optimization and certified Notion expert, and this is Queer Efficiency, where I help fellow productivity and Bravo nerds solve tiny problems. All right, y'all, we're in Reality Ranker. This is Reality Ranker Pro, so I'm just gonna tweak the icon here, and we're gonna update that to black because that's the Pro icon I use. I always use darker colors when I make a Pro version. I will say, just briefly, this is about the 900th time I've recorded this, so I've had technical issues left, right, and center, but we're here now. We're gonna make it happen. And in between, I managed to come up with an idea for the cover photo here. So I've got a caricature of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I think I might change that periodically. So I thought that was kind of fun. And yeah, that's the benefit of having to do this about 17 times. So as I said, in this video, which is the second in a series, so if you haven't seen the first video where we build what's on screen right now, definitely head back and look at that. In this video, we're gonna add a history logger. So every time you track a ranking change, you'll be able to see what that change was, and if you left any notes, what those notes said. It's really cool, and it makes it fun to go back and review it later. My coworker and I did this at one point. We were just cackling, like looking at all of my shitty little notes about the Salt Lake City cast. One other thing I will say, this is Reality Ranker Pro. You can download this or the base version, which we built in the last video, at queerefficiency.com/rank. Everything that we build in this video will work if you grab the template from me from queerefficiency.com/rank. But to build it yourself, I'm gonna show you everything I do and how to build it yourself. You'll need a paid plan for Notion because we're gonna rely on Notion's automations in the background, and those only come with a paid plan. But if you get it from me, you won't need that paid plan. You'll be able to use this just as we build it. So let's get started. And the first thing we're gonna do is duplicate the main database. So I did that when I selected it by hitting Control D on my keyboard. If you do it manually here, you can choose duplicate without content. But in this case, because I only have one thing here, we can just delete it. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna rename this. I'm gonna take that one off, and I'm gonna say Reality Ranker History Database. And then we can come through here. Let's add a blank page, and we're gonna delete a couple things. So I'm gonna delete the chart view. We don't need that. We're gonna rename this to log and change its icon. Cool. And then we're gonna come in and edit the properties because we need to get rid of some stuff. We don't need the buttons that we built in the last video. We're not changing rankings here. We just need to track. But everything else we can keep. I will show the type in this view. Then we need to add a date. And that's it. We're ready to start building. So the goal is whenever we change the rank, we want to make a copy of the stuff that's up here so we have a running history. Now, let's rename this. Let's give a couple of the cast members. We'll just do 2 of them. And we'll add Heather Gay and Whitney Rose. Okay, so now we have a few cast members. Actually, I'm going to add 1 supporting cast member so that way we can make sure that that copies as well. Now I'm gonna give these just a few sample notes. And then I have to click down here, just so there's something in the field. And then we'll do one other thing before we get to work on our automation. We'll come back to this database and group by cast. Right now it won't make any difference, but you'll see why we group by cast in just a second once we get the automation going. We're gonna come to this button and we're gonna create the history automation. And as I mentioned before, the goal is that whenever rank changes, we track that change. So the trigger we're gonna set up is whenever rank, and this is kind of hidden, but if you choose here and then hit is edited, that gives us exactly the trigger we want. There's other ways that you could build this. I could build it into the up and down arrows for when I make the ranking change, but I like this better because if I want to, let's say, bump Heather up 2 or 3 times for one edit, I can hit it quickly in succession, and it's not gonna track every single one and duplicate that every single time. Because the automations take a second to trigger, it gives you a little window to be able to adjust for multiple increases or decreases simultaneously without copying all of those entries multiple times. So now the next thing we need to do is just start bringing data down to the new database. So we're going to choose new action, add page to, and then in this case, we'll just choose the database that we created. And to start, let's just test it with only the cast member name. So what I need to do is I need to edit this as a formula, and I'm going to say the trigger page dot cast member. And what that's going to do is it will fill in the cast member property in the history database from the trigger page. That's exactly what we need. So I'm going to choose enable now. Let's scroll down just a little bit, and I'm going to make a couple changes. I'm going to change Lisa Barlow. And as I said, it takes a second, and you'll see it copied her down. And then we'll do the same thing with Brooks, just to give it an example. Great. And now you see why I grouped by cast member so that all the rankings for each cast member appear together. Now I can get rid of this empty page. And then the bulk of the automation that's left is very simple. We just have to replicate what we already did. So we're going to come back here and edit this. And then we just need to copy the other properties. So let's copy the rank. We're going to do exactly the same thing. Trigger page dot rank. Same thing here, notes, and it'll be trigger page dot notes. Type, and we're going to do the same thing, trigger page dot type. Status is trigger page dot status. And then the last one is a little different. We're going to insert the actual date and time that this automation ran, so we know when the change was made. So we don't need to do the trigger page thing. We're just going to choose time triggered. The difference between time triggered and date triggered is that the time triggered includes both the date and time. That's a little misleading. I don't know why Notion does it that way, but that's what it does. So we're just going to choose time triggered, and it will include both values. So I'm going to hit done, and then let's test this more fully. So let's give Lisa another low ranking change. Yep, and there it goes. All of those details copied, and now we have a record of that change, which is pretty cool. Now, there's a couple other things that I want to add to this. The first is, as I've used this a lot myself, when I'm doing it on mobile on my phone, it's kind of a pain to have to overwrite what's in the notes field already. And I really don't need it to say here what the note is, because I can just go to the rankings down here and see the running history. So that's a pretty quick thing that you can do to override that. So we're going to come back to this automation again, and we're going to add another action. And we have to make sure to add it after this action, which is to edit the property. And this will edit our trigger page, edit notes, and just leave the value empty, and it will clear the value. So now we'll add, let's do Heather. We'll bump her up. And what should happen is Heather should appear here in her own, in her own section. And then her notes field should blank. So it gives me the empty space to type in a new note, and it's much easier on my phone, which is where I typically am doing this while I'm watching. So at this point, you could leave this exactly as is, but there's one more thing that I added that helps to see at a glance what the change was, whether it was up or down. So we're gonna add a new property, and we'll keep this simple. We'll just do it as a text type. And in the name, you might not be able to see my emoji picker, but that's what I'm using right now. I'm going to insert just the emoji for up and down chart. And then I can do the same thing here and give it that chart icon. Now I can bring this way in, and I did that, by the way. So if you are trying to bring a field in, see how it's sticking? It's not letting me drag any further to the left. If you press and hold Alt on your keyboard, you can drag it in as far as you'd like. So I'm going to drag this column over, and you'll see what we're going to use that for. I actually changed my mind. I don't think I want to leave that icon because I've already used it once, so I'll change that one more time. And we can give it this one, which is similar to the ones that it's going to use. You'll see how we're going to use that in just a second. So what we want to do is anytime the ranking goes up, we want to put an up emoji there. And anytime it goes down, we want to put a down emoji there. To do that, we need something to compare against. We need to be able to see what the change was. So we need to capture the initial value before we modify it with the new value after we hit the button. So we need to add a new property to our main database. It's going to be a number, and we're going to call this rank history. We won't need to see this. I'm going to put it here so that we do for right now. We won't need to see it permanently, though. We can hide it because it's just going to be a helper field that works in the background. So what we need to do is we need to capture this. So just as an example, let's bring Lisa up, and I can show you this real fast. I'm going to bring her up to 3 so it's an even number, and you'll see we're only going to get the one change, as I mentioned before. So let's do her. Instead of getting 2.75 and 3, because of that little delay, it's a feature in this case. It actually prevents us from getting that double note. So we're going to bring her up to 3, and then let's say we bump her up now. What should happen is this should go to 3.25. We need to keep a copy of 3 in this field so that we have something to compare against. So we're going to modify our up and down arrows. We're going to add a new action to edit a property. We're going to set rank history. We'll use a custom formula and do this page dot rank. And that will copy that value in. Very important here, we have to make sure to drag this first because we need to make that copy and then change the rank field. So now what happens, that should be modified. And if I hit up, it copies here. Something we need to change right here. Edit this and change decimal places to 2. So now I have that value here. And now it's very simple. In our main automation, we can say if it's greater or less than rank history, we know what type of value to add. We have to remember to add that to the down arrow as well. So we'll do the exact same thing. Edit property, rank history, this page dot rank. And again, very important, move that first so it runs first. So now it will work for both up and down. And then we simply need to do that comparison. And based on that comparison, set a value in this little field. So coming back to the automation, we're going to edit a property. And now we can edit this property. And then we have to do a custom formula. And this formula is a little bit longer. We have to use a conditional. So a conditional takes 3 pieces. It's an if statement. It says, what is the condition? So if something is true or false, that's the first part. What happens if it's true is the second part. What happens if it's false is the third part. So all I have to do here is type if, and then I like to do open close parenthesis and then shift enter on my keyboard to bring this down to a new line. I'll do the condition here, and then I'll do the value of true and false on their own lines. So the condition will be in the first spot. So if trigger page dot rank is greater than trigger page dot rank history, right? So in Lisa's case, if trigger page dot rank, so if rank is 3.25 is greater than 3, which it is, then all we have to do is the value, if true, we'll do this. Actually, let me just add a couple placeholders here so you can see how this looks from a theoretical standpoint, and then I'll overwrite them. So we'll say true and then false. Again, I have to hit on my keyboard shift enter to go to a new line. All right, so we have those values. I think that should work if I leave it like that, but we don't want it to say true or false. I'll just see what happens. Let's try that. And so we'll go up. So we should get a true under Lisa or something. Yeah, it says yes, because it's a text field. Okay, so that's exactly what we want. Now all we have to do is overwrite the true and false with what we actually need it to do. And in this case, we just need to add a string and put that emoji there. So this will be the up. And again, you probably can't see my emoji picker on the screen, but that's what's happening kind of in the background. And then the down is here, and save, and done. So now if I bump Lisa up, I should get, yep, a little up emoji next to this. So I can tell whether the rank went up or down very quickly. I actually think I like it over here next to the notes so I can see that really fast. And then let's test it just to make sure. And we'll add another note just to make sure everything should be good. But just so that that field is filled in, we bring the rank down, all that stuff happens. And now we have a little up and down. So let's do that a couple times. Let's give all of them some down rankings. And I'll give Whitney one up. Just so I have some, actually we'll give Whitney a down as well. Because I can do something a little snarky, which is we could duplicate this view, call this one annoyed, use a frowny face, set this here, and then we're going to add a filter on this field and tell it to filter if it contains that down icon. So it'll only show the negative things. So you can quickly go through and see your notes if they're there, see your notes and see what the hell the cast members did to annoy the piss out of you. Ta-da! Isn't it so lovely? All right, that's all I've got for this video. I think that this is really straightforward. It's really fun. And it allows us to keep that history and to be able to share and go back and see what happened over time. I wish I had done this when I was watching The Real Housewives of New York, because I watched the entire thing. And to be able to go back over the entire course of the show and see all of my notes would be hilarious. I wish I had done it. But in this case, I'm ready for it now, and I'm going to start as soon as I finish The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm moving to Beverly Hills, and I'm going to do it. And I think what I'll do is I'll publish it so y'all can see it if you really, really want to. Okay, up next in the series, we're gonna add another, I think, pretty important piece that will make it even more fun, which is the ability to track which episode you're on very easily. We're gonna add an episode tracker, and then we'll be able to link to all of your cast members, so you edit it in one place and they will automatically all edit. And then all of that data will come down and be in the history database as well. So you'll be able to see every change, not only what date you did it, but what episode you were watching. So you could theoretically go back and see what the hell was going on. And when you're sharing it, to be able to say, oh, did you see episode 6 yesterday? Like all this drama, blah, blah, blah. It's very stupid and I love it. And I'm very excited to share it with you. As a reminder, if you want to download Reality Ranker or Reality Ranker Pro, you can head to queerefficiency.com/rank and you can grab that there. Both links will be available to you there, so it's all in one spot. If you found anything in this video useful, I would love it if you would scroll down and hit the thumbs up. That tells the YouTube algorithm that I'm doing something that people like and to keep showing it to folks. And it tells me what type of content to keep creating. So would love a thumbs up and a subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or you have anything you'd like me to build and show you how to create, feel free to scroll down to the comment section and leave that there. Would love to help you out. I'm looking very forward to building the episode tracker with you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.